We got it. We got it. Ah, shit. Okay, now we need to possibly use the rockets. No. Yes. Come on. No. Come on. No. Ah. Oh, God damn it. Wait, we can do it. Oh. Why do you hate me? Oh. Oh no. I'm not crying. I've got soot in my eyes.
It's the anti-checker.
We will return to your scheduled programming shortly, or we are currently experiencing technical difficulty.
What is going on, YouTube? Michael J. Crawford, the anti-checker here, and it is good to see you. Well, good to see your text that you type. So Thomas was first. Cinnabon says H. Not sure what's wrong with Cinnabon there. Azine says, hi, how are you? I'm okay, Azine. Sorry I didn't answer your question in Space Engineers because when I typed into the server just to check on everybody, I took Auntie out to get a walk. When I got back, I saw that you put that question, and I apologize. Resolute says, hi. Commander Sutter says, hey, boss man, how's your first day back at work?
Hello, world.
Well,
I got him!
and
Don't get cocky.
thank you, Thomas. Puts $1.99 into the chat, and I'll get to your comment in just a second, Thomas. But as far as today is concerned, I'm exhausted. I spent actually more time at the hospital than I did at work. Now, not like it wasn't like an ER visit at the hospital. This was a scheduled thing. I had to go into the hospital today and basically get a bunch of blood drawn and other various tests done, and they, like an EKG and x-rays and all this crap, basically just to make sure that I am physically capable of surviving the surgery coming up next month. So that was lots and lots of fun, but that I like I said, I was there actually longer than I was at work today, but I am exhausted at this point. Mr. Miles says, everyone that typed before this message is fake news. And John Meyer says hi, and then Mr. Miles says first. But here's the thing, Mr. Miles. In between you saying everyone that typed before this message is fake news, John Meyer said hi before you said first. So does that mean John Meyer was actually first? Darren says, I could listen to BIRDOPREY with wine and cry all day. Yes, he has got to be one of the most entertaining people to listen to cry.
Hello,
Mr. Wolverine throws a couple of bucks in. Thank you, my friend.
I got him! Great kid! Don't get cocky.
I truly appreciate it, but I'll get to it in just a couple of minutes here. I'm just going chronologically here. I'm too tired to do anything else because I will get lost if I try to jump around. Mr. Wolverine says, how dill doodle. And Thomas puts his $1.99 in and says, Karoga will go to Grethor, Klingon hell, or Grethor. And number 16, he says, which one is number 16? Well, you should all remember when we played them all the other day, or yesterday, but I don't.
Heart attack.
Well, that was easier than I expected. This is going to be a great day. And now, off to my first day of work on Endor.
There it is. And yes, I know, Forest Moon of Endor. And Resolute tells BIRDOPREY had a great stream today. Sorry I didn't catch it. Mr. Miles says R. And Mecha Random 42
I got him! Great hit.
puts in a buck. I am shocked. I didn't think that Mecha Random was capable of giving away money. I am absolutely shocked. But she says, "Hi guys, to raise more money, I'm going to start selling my farts in a jar. Just tell me what you want me to eat the night before. Bye." Wow. Wow. That so Mecha Random, you're gonna start selling your farts in a jar, huh? That's disturbing. Darren says, "What was that drink you just had?" Well, it is actually my own little concoction. It is basically some grapefruit-based fruit punch and vodka. 2 parts vodka to 1 part fruit punch. Trying to quell the back a little bit. My back is not doing well right now. And so Mr. Wolverine says, "Hey, your mic is on." Yes, amazing, isn't it? Sometimes I don't pull a BIRDOPREY. Yay, more cowbells. Dr. Alex will be pleased. Yes, we always must have more cowbell. Zeke says, "Not a problem. I appreciate your understanding." Commander Shran says, "Hello." Thomas then says, "Anti-Trekker, we need to figure out how to make a remote control scientific research satellite to research the wildlife." Yeah, I know. We do need to do that, Thomas. And I'm sorry. I haven't been in the game at all today because I've been, obviously tied up with other things. Tomorrow, hopefully, I'll be able to get into the game at least a little bit during slow times, but I don't know. There's a lot going on that I have to deal with. Being out for so long means that obviously you have lots and lots of catching up to do when you come back. Mr. Wolverine throws $2 in, wants number 23, please, good buddy. You absolutely got it, Mr. Wolverine. And here we go, the best super chat of them all. And so thank you, Mr. Wolverine. I truly do appreciate you chipping in to help pay the mortgage. And I know Mrs. Anti-Trekker appreciates it as well. Multi-Gunman says, "Hi, Anti-Trekker. How's it going?" I'm hanging in there, Multi-Gunman. I'm very, very sore right now, but I'm still here. As long as I'm physically capable of being here, I will be here. If I delete Mr. Miles' message, does that mean messages before his are real? That is correct, but you would have to get to YouTube's servers to actually delete the message. And now Mr. Miles puts E. So he put an R and then E. And then, it looks like later he put an A. You're not going to put read my last comment, are you? Because if you do, I will slap you, Mr. Miles. I don't remember what the super chats are. I just picked numbers. Fair enough, but that was a good one. By the way, the funny thing about that one that you picked, the Stormtrooper and the red shirt, is if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. E.C. Henry put out a really good video about the fact that Imperial Stormtroopers are actually very good shots. And when I saw the name of the video, I was like, okay, he's totally trolling. Or he's basing it on something that's not like Alpha Cannon, like some book or something about some crack squad of sharpshooters. However, he actually very effectively demonstrated his point, and I gotta hand it to EC. I'm impressed. So yeah. And BIRDOPREY is thanking Resolute about how awesome his stream was. And Darth Maul is in the house, says, hail. How you doing, Darth Maul? BIRDOPREY wanted to burn a cross. Why does that not surprise me in the slightest? And then BIRDOPREY retracted his message, probably because he's going to say something to the effect of, you're damn right, I was trying to burn a cross, but then he deleted it because he realized that was a bad idea. There's Mr. Miles saying, Bird says, Thomas, I tried to knock down a cross. Oh, okay, so you were performing sacrilege, just not quite the way Thomas thought. Gotcha. Darren says, Trigger, so, watch any great little comic book videos within the last 24 hours? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. No, Darren, I have not watched any videos on YouTube within the last 24 hours, I don't think. The E.C. Henry one I watched a couple of days ago. But I have been, well, last night I was on Midnight's Edge. They asked me at the last minute to join. And then I went to bed, and then today, I already told you about my day today. Yeah, that's, and then I did this. After the work stuff, then I took Auntie for a walk, and then I started this live stream. So, yeah. Thomas says, BIRDOPREY, you wanted to blow it up. John Meyer says, say no more, Darren. Yep, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, say no more. Mike Richards says, greetings from Columbus, Ohio. Good to see you as always, Mike. Mr. Miles says, my last comment. Yes, because I got it right. John Meyer says, you Thor bod is sore bod. Your Thor bod is a sore bod. Your Thor bod is a sore bod. I do have a Thor bod now that Endgame's out. I do kind of have a Thor, you know. It's funny because after Endgame, when we got home, I was like, yeah, that's right, baby. You didn't know that I had the body of a god, you know. And of course, she, for some reason, laughed. Miss Rouse says, damn, you figured it out too soon. Sorry, my friend. Thomas says, LOL, Mr. Miles, that was held for review. Of course, because he said, damn. Well, it's because YouTube hates left-handed people, that too. Thanks, YouTube, for no notification. I was waiting for the stream. Well, I'm glad you're here, Epic. But, yeah, some notifications are kind of hit and miss with YouTube these days. Don't know what the deal is. I doubt it has anything to do with the fact that they're getting in trouble for antitrust violations. Mr. Lundell's in the house, says, hey. Good to see you. And actually, you only said hey twice, but it just... I don't know, I felt like Fat Albert there. The Epic Beard says, anyway, hey, nerds and Anti-Trigger. Hey, Epic, it is good to see you as always. Hope things are going well on in the Space Engineers server for you guys. Mr. Lundell says, by the way, the Midnight's Edge After Dark stream last night was great. Thank you. I actually had a lot of fun on that Midnight's Edge stream. I got to cut loose a little bit. And, yeah, I think it was a good stream. Went on a couple of my classic tangents, and I think it was a good time. Chrono says, "Wow, you're live." Yeah, I'm live. This is my regular time, Chronos. You know that, right? Scientific Lens says, "Hey, folks, Anti-Tracker, body of Godzilla, more like it." Wow, now that's just mean. Fusion Studios. I don't think I remember your name, and that icon is very cool, but I don't remember seeing it. But it says, YouTube almost made me miss this stream. What a tragedy that would be. Well, I'm glad you're here, and welcome. If I haven't seen you before, or if you changed your username and I just didn't know what it was before, welcome. And if you have been here and I just didn't notice, I am truly sorry. Chrono says, hey, Trick, are you high on drugs and things? Yeah, you could, well, I wouldn't say, nothing illegal or anything. I've prescriptions. Unfortunately, those prescriptions I'm about to run out of, but yeah. And Thomas says, actually, Mr. Miles, comment D, my last comment was held. Yes, I did see that. Epic says, yep, all good on the server thus far. Good. I did notice that looking at the server, it's not running at 100% speed anymore, which is that was to be expected. But it's not running nearly as bad as the server that we had before. So we're going to keep monitoring it. We also haven't done any kind of server resets or anything like the other server was getting a daily reset. So I'm going to reset the server tonight after this stream. And then we'll see how it goes from there. My girlfriend and I have been watching all the Star Wars films from 1 through 7. We both gave up. It took us 3 days to get 3/4 of the way through. We skipped Solo. The originals will be with us always. Yeah, it's... that's the thing. The prequels are hard enough in some ways. I mean, the prequels are not nearly as bad as some people make them out to be, but they're definitely subpar compared to the original trilogy. But the sequel trilogy, just a mess, and the thing is that it does piss me off, Commander, that I think that episode 7, the first half of episode 7 was actually really solid, and then it kind of fell apart once they left Jakku, and all of a sudden Rey could just do everything. That's where the film, in my opinion, fell apart. But I think JJ was onto something up to that point. Well, Godzilla is like a god. Well, actually, in the strictest sense of lowercase g god, Godzilla is a god. He's just a nature animal type god. Kind of stuff in Japanese lore and stuff. I heard wolves eat birds on the new server. Best server ever then. Yes, I've heard that too. I haven't seen the wolves yet though. Chrono says, yay, drugs, yes. Vicodin to be specific. And I can't remember the name of the muscle relaxer, but not a bad combination. Handy Junker is channeling Fat Albert. Everyone watch their drinks for Quaaludes. Jerk. Thomas says, I was on for only a short time working on my ship. Kept seeing the message paint gun error. Well, I don't know what happened there. I haven't, and you weren't using a paint gun. Weird. That is weird. I'll have to check that out. I don't know if it's the paint gun mod or something else, but yeah. Fusion says the prequels did nothing wrong. Well, I would disagree. Here's the thing. I am a defender of the prequels for the most part in that I don't think that they're as bad as some people make them out to be. That being said, I do think that there were a few key mistakes that were made. And the problem is most of those mistakes happened in episode 1. Number 1, they killed Darth Maul. That was a huge mistake. Even though I love Christopher Lee, I think that Dooku was a mistake. You should have had Darth Maul as Sidious's apprentice throughout the trilogy until he was killed by Anakin in episode 3. I also think that midichlorians was a huge mistake because just like Star Trek should probably try to avoid too much deep supernatural stuff because when they do, it kind of gets lame. Star Wars should not try to make scientific sounding explanations for supernatural things because that is a mistake. But yeah. I should have clarified. 3/4 of the way through 7. Agreed the first half is good, then stupid beyond belief. Swear I could hear Johnson giggling every time stupidity happened. Yeah. Agreed, Shutter. He is called Godzilla because he's king of the monsters. Long live the king. Yes, and by the way, that's another movie that I think people are a little unfairly harsh on. I like Godzilla, King of the Monsters. I think it was a fun film. But I don't know why a lot of people just hate it because they think that the human story is not, like, I guess, Academy Award winning material, but it's like, it's a freaking Godzilla movie. Have you not seen any of the Godzilla movies? Because every Godzilla movie has a lame-ass story. Sorry. Let's get another drink going here. I was getting the same paint gun error. I've never used it in the game. Don't even intend to. Yeah, that's weird. Cinnabon, if you're still here, have you seen that? You know what might be causing that? Do we just need to remove that mod? And Multi Gunman says, I'm rewatching Voyager for the first time since it aired. that's something that, you know, I've never really rewatched the entirety of Voyager since it originally aired. I've watched episodes here and there. But yeah, I have not just sat down and tried to rewatch the entire series. That's something that I may do. In fact, I'll be honest with you. If I do, you know, if I do get to a point where I can do YouTube full time, I'm going to probably rewatch every Star Trek series just to kind of get a fresh perspective on them. I think that'll be fun, and maybe do live streams of it. Kronos says, please switch to live chat. You know what? How do you know that I didn't switch to live chat? Although I didn't. I thank you for telling me that, Kronos. But how did you know that? You're not here, are you? All right. I did not regret the CosbyCon comment. I regret nothing. Okay, John. Okay. And Kronos has no regrets. Kronos says, hey, Trigger, did you just rant a bit? Well, that's kind of my thing, you know. I do tend to rant quite a bit. Kathleen McManus, because as many people are unaware, Derek McManus got that operation, says, so you didn't die. Result. Okay. That sentence doesn't quite make sense, but you're right. I didn't die. Fusion says the prequels, even with their flaws, are far better films than the sequel trilogy. Oh, agreed. And I doubt too many people would disagree with you on that, Fusion, except for the very odd sequel film defenders. But most of those people are simply defending it on political grounds, not so much based on the quality of the film. You'll notice that many people who try to defend the sequel trilogy will say things attacking those that don't like the prequels, or I'm sorry, attacking people that don't like the sequels, rather than defending the sequels. So, yeah. Not to be a buzzkill, but mixing meds and alcohol doesn't seem to be wise. You're right. You're absolutely right. You should not mix meds and alcohol under most circumstances. And Alexander throws 2 fake Canadian dollars in. Thank you so much, Alexander. Says the Asian Muslim wife born in the USSR is the best choice. I know it is for you. That is absolutely true. And I can't wait until your Asian Muslim wife born in the USSR gets to come to Canada. But in all seriousness, Mr. Miles, you're right that you should not mix major painkillers and alcohol and stuff. And I'm actually, I would say not really, because the last time I took the painkillers was several hours ago, and the reason I'm drinking now as opposed to taking more painkillers is to try and conserve the painkillers, because, you know, and they won't give you a decent prescription for them. And so Mr. Londo says, I actually like the prequels, even though Darth Maul was killed by Obi-Wan. The 2 extra Sith Lords, Dooku, and the one that was 99% mechanical was confusing. Yeah, that was General Grievous, who wasn't even really a Sith, because he couldn't use the Force, but yeah. I thought there was 1 Sith and 1 apprentice. Yeah, there should have been. I think that, you know, Dooku and Grievous, well, Grievous you could still put in there, but you needed more development for him, because just having him show up and expecting people to have watched the animated series and know who he is was a mistake. Fusion Studios says, Mr. Because why not? And Thomas says, we need a video about 7 of 9 sweater. We need it now. Oh, geez, you're starting to sound like Alexander. We don't need a video about 7 of 9 sweater. It's a freaking sweater. I hate the boring political scenes in the prequels. I'm not saying that you can't have political scenes in movies, but making them interesting and having some action in them. Oh, yeah, I agree. I think that was another thing. Too much time showing the Senate. The Senate in and of itself was a great throwaway line in the original Star Wars when we found out that the Emperor disbanded the Senate. But yeah, when we actually get to watch them deliberate, I'm sorry, if I want to watch science fiction C-SPAN, you know, no thank you. And so Kronos says, I don't know nothing. That is absolutely true, because you do know things, and that is a double negative. And now Mr. Mouse says M. Oh, jeez. And O. Uh-oh. Let's see. I don't know what he's doing. Chrono says Cree, and Mr. Mouse says Cree. And Derek says switch device. Good to see you're still sucking down oxygen. Thank you, Derek. And good to see you, by the way. I know I kid you about your mom's account, but it is always good to see you, my friend. Kronos loves to Paul. I definitely don't hate her. Bradley says, me too, Kronos, about to Paul, I presume. Derek says, hey there, Kronos, lots of echoes going on in here. Okay. Few people would disagree, immediately think shills. Yeah, that's true. Kronos wants to know, how's the knee? Well, the knee is still there. It's still inflamed. I'm looking forward to the surgery on October 3rd, and that's when they're going to hopefully have the knee actually working properly. Now, Cinnamon says there was a game update today, so the mod probably hasn't been updated yet. It still works, just can't select and paint textures. I'll bet you then restarting the server tonight should fix that then. But, of course, if there was a game update, you want to make sure your game is up to date after the server is restarted, or it won't work. Now, Resolute says, that's good, Trigger. The booze are safer than the pills. And there, so now we got Mr. Mouse with the O and then an R, so I assume he's saying more cowbell. Chrono says, are you drinking? Yes. Liquid nourishment. Yes. Derek says, in prison, I learned to grind up various medical products for snorting, sniffing purposes. Very lucrative business. Jeez. I don't need to know about that, Derek. Cinnamon says, you might be able to search for mod updates in Torch. Well, I know that in Torch, whenever you shut down and restart the system, it re-downloads the mods every single time. And that is specifically, because when I was reading up on it, that's specifically so that the mods are always up to date as long as you restart the server. Speaking of not mixing drugs and alcohol, we keep trying to tell Bird not to mix flying in mountains because it results in crashing. But he won't listen. He's stubborn like that. Yeah, Bird, he has this thing where he just loves to crash into mountains. I don't know why. And now Thomas is getting in on things and says X. Oh, jeez. Hello there, my fellow Stargate fans. Sci-Fi Sith is saying to Mr. Miles. And Darren and then says, Anti-Checker, I got the call today from a guy who found it unacceptable that he couldn't pre-order the new iPhone today instead of tomorrow. You know, when pre-ordering starts.
Hello, world.
And Alexander throws another 2 fake Canadian dollars in and says, I ordered from Russia t-shirts with Soviet tanks. Very cool, I guess. If you like Soviet tanks. Although I will tell you, Alexander, American tanks are superior to Soviet tanks. If you compare the M1 Abrams tank to something like the Soviet T-80, it's no contest. Just saying. And so, but back to what Darren was saying as far as the iPhone thing. Well, you know, that's the problem, when you work in a customer service type of environment, is people don't understand, because, and I mean, we've talked about it there, and I'm not going to reveal anything that you haven't said in the chat. So as far as, where you work, I can safely say you don't work for Apple. You work for another company, but that company sells Apple products. And the people don't understand that Apple sets the pre-order date. Your company doesn't. But yeah, because I'm sure that all your competition will probably start, I don't know, but because I still have, I don't know, but I assume that Verizon and AT&T and everybody is going to probably start pre-ordering the iPhone tomorrow. Now, I'm not an iPhone person, but, and don't tell anybody, I plan on getting one for my daughter because she loves the iPhone. And I was going to get her an iPhone XS, but then I was like, oh, the 11's coming. I think I'll probably get that for her. Chrono says, an inflamed knee. Yes, I have arthritis. It's classified as moderate arthritis on my knee. And I have not been able to walk without a limp for about a decade, and so I'm getting a partial knee replacement that will hopefully alleviate that. And the idea there is that walking with a limp for all this time has aggravated the herniated disc and arthritis in my back, And so the idea is to treat the back, we need to treat the knee. Derek says, hey there, Darren. Former skimmer says hello. Oh, you were... Okay, I didn't know you were... I assume that means sailor. But yeah. Mr. Isle says more cowbell. Yes, I see. I'm too smart. Let's see. Sci-Fi Sith says to Mr. Miles, you should say hello to me on Anti-Trekker's website. Okay. And Mr. Multi-Gunman says, no, an inflamed pea. Okay. Chrono says, turn it to 11. Mine goes to 11. And let's see. Spend most of my free time inside a video editor, which is where you belong, my friend.
I got him! Great.
And Alexander with another 2 fake Canadian dollars talking about the tanks. I didn't quite catch it. I'll read it when I get down to it in just a minute. Speaking of which, there's his $2 chat saying, I ordered from Russia t-shirts with Soviet tanks. And that's cool if you like them. I'm just saying, I think American tanks are superior technology. And Mr. Miles said, I spend. Yes, I'm sure he figured that out. Rocky Mountain High, Bird's favorite song. Yeah, that should be Bird's favorite song. Alexander, Soviet tank design development post-war is a fascinating subject. It actually is. Soviet tanks suck monkey wang. Agreed, Darren. Fusion said, my father had a serious knee problem, lost cartilage between the bones, used to be a cross-country runner until he was told he would never run again when he was about 38 to 42. Yeah, and that is, by the way, and I didn't know this, but that is exactly what arthritis is arthritis is the deterioration of the cartilage in your skeletal system, because all your bones actually have cartilage around them. I didn't know that until fairly recently when they've been educating me on it. Rheumatoid arthritis is the worst version of arthritis, because what rheumatoid arthritis is, it's actually an immune system problem, where it's kind of the opposite of AIDS in a sense, where instead of your immune system not defending your body properly, your immune system actually begins to think that the cartilage in your body is a foreign agent, and so your own immune system attacks your cartilage. And people with rheumatoid arthritis, you'll see those, like when you see old people that are hunched over and have like big humps, or they look kind of deformed as they get older, or people that shrink as they age, that's rheumatoid arthritis, because the cartilage in their body is literally under attack by their own immune system. So what are your thoughts on Michael Dorn appearing in Picard as a Kling orc? There's a leaked photo proving he is on set. Well, I'm very curious, actually, if they are going to reimagine Worf as a Kling orc. If they do, then I think that is a mistake, and it will piss off. Alexander, thank you. Another 2 fake Canadian dollars. I will get to that chat in a couple of minutes here, my friend. But I do think that it will be a huge mistake to reimagine Worf as a Kling orc, because they've already really, with Star Trek Discovery, CBS has managed to really piss off fans of the original series in particular, right? People like myself that love the original series were so pissed off about this show because this show spits in the face of the original series. Now you're going to make a show that centers around Picard and has it take place obviously in the next gen era, and you're going to turn Worf into one of those godforsaken Kling orcs. Now you're going to have the next gen fans pissed off as much as the original series fans were pissed off at STD. So that's not a good idea. And so now Mr. Miles says F. Uh-oh. And Bradley says, any updates on your Stargate watching reviews, or are you and wifey still busy? If so, I understand it's more than okay. No, I haven't watched any. In fact, I haven't watched anything today. But I'm hoping to get back into watching some Stargate in the not too distant future, but probably not until after the surgery, because quite frankly, Bradley, I have a difficult time focusing on things, and so I've been trying to, most of the time, me and Mrs. Antchecker have just been watching things that I've already seen a bunch of times. So, you know, like we've been rewatching, the last few days we've been rewatching the Batman movies. Unfortunately, we're up to Batman and Robin now. But we've been rewatching all the Batman movies and stuff like that. Stuff that I've seen over and over. And the reason for that is because I can't focus worth a damn because of the pain. And I know that sounds like an excuse, but it's the straight up truth. Is that when you especially since and I'll be on this week the reason I have not gotten anything done this week, and I feel horrible about it, but it's just the facts, is that accident on Saturday that cracked my my L1 vertebrae has really amped up the pain to 11, and I have been in constant pain this week at a level that I have not been dealing with before. And so I have barely been able to, I mean, I'll be completely honest with you, doing live streams has been challenging for me, and that wasn't that difficult before. So that's, yeah. But I want to be able to enjoy Stargate and really take it in, and if I can't focus on it, I'm going to miss a lot. And hello, Alexander, again with a $2 super chat. Thank you, my friend. And of course, something about Aunt May naked. You crazy, crazy bastard. All right, let me get back to the chat here. Strangely, on the same day they announced a new Apple Watch, mine isn't charging anymore. Of course, Thomas. But shame on you, Thomas, for having an Apple Watch. No, I kid. I know some people love Apple products. I honestly don't know jack about the Apple Watch. Because I don't wear watches. I actually have buried on the shelves over there somewhere. I have a gold watch that was my father's, and or is it over? No, I think it is over on the shelves. But I have a gold watch that was my father's. It's nothing super fancy or anything. It's not like it's a Rolex or anything. But but I never wear it. Why? Because I don't like having watches on. I don't. In fact, this is driving me crazy. This little hospital band. I haven't cut it off yet because I was too busy, and I need to do that. But yeah, I just don't like having something like that. A bracelet, watch, stuff like that. Don't like it. So yeah. Wait till you see the top 5 worst of Trek, says Mr. I can't wait to see it, man, because I know, I think that the recordings were pretty good, and I can't wait to see what you do with the editing, Mr. Miles, because, and I'm not kissing your butt here, I'm being completely serious. You are an awesome editor, and so I wish and I can't, and this is another thing, this is absolutely true, Mr. Miles, and I'm tearing off this stupid hospital band so I can get rid of it. I can't wait until this channel makes enough money so that I can pay you enough to do this full time, because your editing is so good, and the only reason I don't like try to push you to do more is because you're getting paid peanuts for it right now. So yeah. Darren says, you know what I hate most about iPhones? iPhone users. Yeah. The Israel Merkava is far better than anything the former Soviets had for armor. Toss the M1 tank, M1A1 into the mix. The Soviets lose every time. Oh yeah, the M1A1 is a badass tank. You know, I never got to drive one, but I've been around them enough and know their capabilities enough from when I was in the army to yeah, the Soviet tanks are completely outclassed. Speaking of which, there's Alexander's super chat saying Soviet tanks are cooler and the t-shirts rock. Well, the t-shirt may be awesome. You'll have to send me a picture of it when you get it. But I think the M1 tank is completely badass. And if you've never seen an M1 in action, holy crap, can those things kick ass. You know, they are the absolute epitome of ground combat. Hello to all the people saying hi to me, says Darren. Treat the back knee. Not sure what you mean. Mr. Miles retracts a message and it says A. So we have F-A. Not sure what you're going for this time, my friend. And let's see. Ree says, I'm old and deformed, says Kronos. Well, I'm sorry. And let me see. Oh, what the heck? My chat jumped. Hold on. I'm just going to read the stuff. I'm just going to read the stuff addressed to me because I'm way too far behind. And I apologize, guys. I am having a very difficult time focusing on anything because I hurt like a mofo right now. So Darren says, hey, Trigger, skimmer, surface ship sailor. That's what I thought. I just couldn't quite get the words out. That, yeah, I knew what it was. I just couldn't articulate because, yeah, I feel like crap. Flat earthers are strange. Well, Darren is a little strange, but he's a cool guy, and I love having him around. So it's strange doesn't mean bad. Life with Matthews here says, good evening. How you doing? Sci-Fi Sith says, Mr. Mile, put the list of anti-checker to put a top 5 Doctor Who villains. Ooh, that's not bad. But yeah, Mr. Miles will continue to prod me to do top 5 lists. When he finishes the top 5 worst Star Trek episodes of the original series, then I leave it to Mr. Miles to choose what the next top 5 list will be. Darren, very different design philosophy for Soviet engineering. Basically, numbers have a quality all of their own, or as the Germans said, we ran out of ammunition before they ran out of men. Mr. Rouse says, I need a Blu-ray player capable of ripping UHD Blu-rays. Good luck. Give me money. I give you money every month, Mr. Miles, but I know it's not a lot, but and hopefully that amount will grow. I'm absolutely confident, Mr. Miles, and I'm not blowing smoke. I'm absolutely confident that if you and I can continue to push through, because we both had some tough times recently, trying to get the stuff out there, but I really do think we can grow this channel to the point where it'll support us. I do. It's just that it's tough right now because it's not making enough money to support us, and so it's hard to dedicate the time we need it to put into it, but I think it's doable. And if we get to that point, then freaking awesome. And one day, I'll get to meet you face to face. Soviet tanks burned well in Iraq. The only thing worse than a Soviet tank is the American Bradley fighting vehicle. Well, the Bradley was not a fighting vehicle. It was just a troop transport that they called a fighting vehicle. But yeah. You need to forget about that job. Start selling merch, live stream, and eat gummies all day. I tell you, Resolute, that sounds great. But unfortunately, the profit margin on selling merch through third-party retailers is very, very low. Like if you sell t-shirts on Teespring and stuff, like they'll charge you $20 for a t-shirt, I might make $1, right? And so if 100 people buy t-shirts, woohoo, $100. It's not a big deal. So I am looking for a way to do some merch that I can make a decent profit margin on, so that it would actually be worth the time. This is t-shirts of Army games with tank biathlon. This is t-shirts of Army games with tank biathlon. Well, I can't see it, Alexander. You got to send me the picture. And Kronos says again, I am old and deformed. I don't buy that, Kronos. I don't think you're old and deformed. I think you're Kronos. And the moths may be old and deformed, but I don't think you are. Darren says, I'm very disappointed in Michael Dorn for taking the Klingork job. Well, first of all, Darren, remember, we don't know that Michael Dorn is taking a Klingork job. So don't judge him just yet, because the only thing we know is Michael Dorn was seen on set. Now, and even if that means that he is on the show, it doesn't necessarily mean that he will be a Klingork. They could do the classic Worf makeup. We don't know what they're going to do yet. However, I hope to God they do not make Worf into a Klingork. If they do, a lot of people are going to be mad beyond words. And if CBS is too ignorant to realize that, then they deserve the hate they get. Let's see. Michael Dorn is a Klingork. Please keep giving me reasons not to watch it. Yeah, no kidding. And Kronos says, what did Michael Dorn do? He was seen on the set of Picard. Mr. Miles then says R, but I can't remember what your last letter was, so I'm lost now, Mr. Miles. Your last one was A. Say R. A-R, I assume the next one will be E. What did my, let's see, and then Thomas puts Stargate Origins in the chat, one letter at a time.
I got him! Great kid! Don't get cocky!
And thank you, Alexander. I know it had something to do with Soviet tanks in World War II, but I didn't quite get it, so I will read it in a couple of minutes. Derek says, I'm not a Klingork fan, but anyone can carry it off. Michael Dorn could. I don't think the Klingork is going to work. I think it's a bad idea. Please tell me he isn't the next Sirtis. I hope not. You know, that whole thing from Marina Sirtis when she said the Republicans can't be Star Trek fans. Oh, I tell you, I am old-fashioned where I say, oh, I would never hit a lady, but I was very tempted. You know, where if Marina Sirtis, and I met Marina Sirtis, and I loved hanging out with her. I was actually, there was a Star Trek convention in Portland, Oregon. This was back in the 90s. And Marina Sirtis was one of the main guests. And I was actually, my Star Trek, I was president of the local official Star Trek fan club. We were the USS Rebellious. And our club was given the task of providing security for Miss Sirtis. And I actually got to hang out with her pretty much all day. And she was fun to hang out with. She was a very nice person. But she didn't say anything as Batwoman crazy as the idea that Republicans can't be Star Trek fans. And I seriously, if she said that then, I would have wanted to punch her in the face then. I don't understand why you would say something like that. And there's Sci-Fi Sis Dan's comment that I read earlier. Or actually, no, I didn't read this one earlier, but it was like, I think it was a suggestion to Mr. Miles. Do have your to-do list of top 5 best Doctor Who villains. Well, that, like I said, that is up to Mr. Miles. So send that to tnn@antitrekker.com. Will Worf have Klingork boobs and decapitate babies? Probably. Live with Matthew. As a TOS fan, how did you feel about the transformation of Klingons from TOS to TNG? Do you feel it was comparable to TNG to STD? No. And here's why, Live with Matthew. The TOS to TNG transformation happened in TOS. All right, so the transformation happened with Star Trek The Motion Picture. It was not TNG that changed Klingons. It was Star Trek The Motion Picture. Robert Wise's film was the first to change Klingons. And I will tell you, as a person who in 1979 saw that film on opening day, along with every other Trekkie that was alive in the 1970s, there's something that we all understood that is really people can't grasp right now, but I understood it at the time. My headcanon is this way. This is how it is. The reason that the Klingons in Star Trek The Motion Picture had forehead ridges and the Klingons in the original series did not was because Star Trek The Motion Picture had a film budget and the television show didn't. End of story. So as far as canon is concerned, the Klingons have always had forehead ridges. It's just they couldn't afford to do the makeup back in the 60s with Star Trek The Original Series. So I have no problem with no reaction to the forehead ridges by anybody who meets a Klingon. Like Kirk didn't say, wait, you're a Klingon? You know, I really didn't have a problem with that. I thought that, okay, this is what the Klingons were supposed to look like, but they couldn't do the makeup back in the 60s. That's kind of what everybody assumed at that point. However, we get to this point now where any slight visual variation to something has to be explained, right? We have to explain it by the time we get to to DS9, we ask the question, we get the explanation in Enterprise. And did I love the explanation of the genetic retrovirus that trying to combine Klingon and augment DNA, and the side effect was that the Klingons would lose their ridges. It was all right. It wasn't. I don't think it was particularly inspired, but okay, fine. I accept it as the official canon. However, it was completely unnecessary in my view. As far as I'm concerned, my headcanon up until that point was that that's how the Klingons always looked. It's just that they didn't have the makeup budget until Trials and Tribulations. Wow, that was a long-winded answer to that. Yes. So back to the chat, and I got lost. Okay, Alexander puts in $2 more there and says 1,000% of humankind wants MCU Aunt May naked now. But here's the problem with that, Alexander. 1,000% of humankind is 10 times more than all people. Doesn't quite add up. Boy, that alcohol's kicking in now. By the way, this was full when I started. And like I said, it's about 2 parts vodka to 1 part fruit punch. So, yeah, that's strong stuff. Yeah. Thomas says, bad thing as I have hundreds of digital movies on iTunes, so it'd suck me stopping getting Apple stuff. Yeah, they rope you into that. They do. Let me see here. Kronos says, Trigger, don't give Mr. Miles a false sense of something special. I don't give him a false sense of something special. Mr. Miles is something special, and I, you know, quite frankly, I love the fact that he's helping me out so much, and I wish I could pay him more. If I truly do. And as the channel grows, he will make more, but it's going to take time. But it's, you know, Mr. Miles is very talented when it comes to editing, and I think that he knows it, but you know, he's trying to be modest. John says, hello everyone, hope you're feeling better, Antchecker. John, it's going to be a while before I'm feeling better, but thank you for the sentiment. Theoretically, I should feel somewhat better sometime after October 3rd when they cut open my knee. Can't wait to show off the scar. Richie Poole is in the house. Good to see you. Says, glad to see you're still alive. Me too. I am always glad to be alive. Darren says, I had a chief once who was a former Army. We went to an Army base for rifle training. Someone called the M109 howitzer a tank, and the chief almost beat him to death for calling him that. Yeah, absolutely. You don't call a howitzer a tank. It's a gun. And by the way, that is an appropriate use of the term gun. A M16 is not a gun. It is a rifle. A howitzer is a gun. But yeah, and I know you know that, Darren, but a lot of people don't understand that. What's that weird looking drink, Anti-Trekker? It is 1 part fruit punch to 2 parts vodka, and it is a very effective painkiller because I couldn't afford Theragun. Was it Theragun? I think that's how they said it. Howdy! Did you make it through the day without snapping at a customer? Well, fortunately, Night Breeze. And Alexander puts another $2 in.
Got him! Great kid! Don't get cocky!
And he says Hulk Hogan should have a role in a Conan movie. I could have seen Hulk Hogan in Conan back in the 80s, for sure. But Night Breeze wants to know if I made it through the day without snapping at a customer. Yes, but only because I was not on the phones today. So, thank you for asking, but I was not on the phones today. You know, if I get fired or something, I'll let you know. I don't talk about work in general. I don't talk about who I work for because our company has a strict policy that I'm not to talk about the company unless I am a authorized spokesperson, and I am not. And unlike most people, I play by the rules, which is why I'm such a freaking loser, I think. Vile says, how about selling 3D printed items? That's not a bad idea, but I need to get to a point where I can print them regularly. Right now, I haven't, the 3D printer hasn't been fired up in a while because of the fact that I have not been physically able to operate the machine. You have to be able to reach and move stuff that requires a little bit of back manipulation I suppose I could get a short table to put it on to work on, but then I'd have to put it on the table, so yeah. I'm so very not old and deformed. I didn't think you were. Alexander says the T-34 was the best tank of World War II, legendary. Well, Alexander, I'm sure you believe that. Ensign Ricky is in the house. Good to see you, Ensign Ricky. By the way, for anybody watching this right now, if you are not subscribed to Ensign Ricky, you owe it to yourself to subscribe to Ensign Ricky. His videos are really good. By the way, also Vile Mike, you really need to subscribe to Vile Mike. And Rock Solid, if you like retro stuff, Rock Solid is your man. So and I assume BIRDOPREY, if you're still with me, I'm pretty sure all three of those are on the certified nerds list. But you should absolutely be subscribed. But anyway, Ensign Ricky says, dropped an Expanse video and got Ty Frank, one of the creators, to comment. LOL. Hope all is well. Well, that's really cool, actually. If you got one of the creators of the Expanse to comment on your video, get them to promote it. Holy crap. Your channel will dwarf mine by the end of tomorrow. But very good, Ensign Ricky. Anti-Tricker is drinking antimatter. No, antimatter is what Auntie leaves behind when we go for walks. So, no, definitely not. Daniel is in the house. Says, Anti-Tricker just got back from the kitchen. I ate mac and cheese. Oh, wow. Did I hear right? Michael Dorn coming back as a Klingon or a Kling Orc. A Kling Orc would be cool. Well, Daniel, I know that, and I'm not gonna pick on you. I promise. I know you like Discovery more than pretty much anybody else in this room. But the only thing we know is that Michael Dorn was seen on the Discovery, or not on the Discovery, on the Star Trek Picard set. What that means, we don't know. Is he going to be a Klingon, a Kling Orc? Was he just there checking it out and visiting his old friends? We don't know. Ensign Ricky, I just think it's cool you actually commented on the video. You don't see that very often. That's very true. It's very cool if you get somebody of note to comment on your video, which when that does happen, when I see someone, either a YouTube celeb or even someone involved in a particular project that I'm commenting on, actually comment on the video, it is very exciting. Darren says, if I met Marina Sirtis and she said that to me, I would have said, what? I love Klingons. What about, the Republican okay. Nightbreeze says, Antrigger, looks like I will not be watching Star Trek The Next Generation after I finish watching TOS. Why not? Will Worf have two weenies? Probably. Mr. Lundell says, bear in mind that Marina Sirtis is trying to get some acting roles. The Orange Man bad thing is just a means to an end. It could be, but I don't care. You know what? But here's the thing, Mr. Lundell. And if you are willing, and that was, oh man, that was stupid for me to shift around like that. That hurt. Anyway, if you are willing to actually insult half the population of the United States, well, half the voting population of the United States, roughly, because you're trying to kiss up to who might hire you, F you. I don't want anything to do with you. Go retire. You know what? You look like you should have retired 20 years ago. Retire, Marina. You're done. I am done with you. I wash my hands of you. Marina Sirtis, I don't want to see you ever again. That's my opinion of her. Darren says, personally, I liked all pre-Klingon designs. I also love the Enterprise two-parter that showed the transition on screen. Like I said, I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was necessary, but I didn't have a problem with it either. Commander Shutter says, Antrigger, or the resolution was so low in the original series that the head ridges were not visible. There you go. That's a good little piece of headcanon. Kronos is saying, let the ranting flow. Daniel says, Antrigger, do you remember when Michael Burnham was talking down to Captain Pike? What if you were in Starfleet and they made you work with Michael Burnham? I could not, if Michael Burnham were an actual person, the only thing I could do would be punch her in the face. Now, that's not saying I would never condone violence against Sonequa Martin Green. Okay, make that perfectly clear. I know that some people do, in fact, what's her name, that played Rose Tico. A lot of people couldn't tell the difference between Rose Tico and the actress that played Rose Tico, Tran. I can't remember her first name, but whatever. But Sonequa Martin Green, I don't give a crap about. I haven't heard her say much except for wearing too much makeup and saying how we're blowing up Star Trek. But Michael Burnham, I would punch her in the face. Chrono says, Antitracker, wow, you're a lush. Indeed, I am. Although I'm not completely wasted or anything. But I do have enough of that fruit punch in me to where it's helping to take some of the edge off the pain right now. Max Wild put $5 in. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. And says you could choose the super chat, and then I'll read the rest when I get to it because it faded out before I could read it. But thank you so much, my friend. Do you remember when calling Jedi space wizards first started? It became the hip thing to do after The Last Jedi, but how widespread was it beforehand? I've heard the term a few times. Jedi is being referred to as space wizards all the way back to the 80s, to be honest with you. But it didn't become popular, I think, until after The Last Jedi. John DeMarco says, I appreciate that Enterprise explained the Klingon foreheads in the universe. One reason being that the later shows can't use the visual update as an excuse to change everything. I will grant you that. So with the actual on-screen explanation of the Klingons getting head ridges, then we need an on-screen explanation of the Klingorks. So good call. Alexander puts $2 in and says Hulk Hogan should have a role in a Conan movie. No, he should have had a role. That's the problem. Hulk Hogan, in my opinion, now is a little bit old to be in a Conan movie. But back in the day, well, I mean, I guess he could play Conan's dad or something. But back in the day when Hulk was, Hulk, then I think he could have. It could have been cool to see him and Conan fighting or something. Eric is in the house, says, hi, Antitracker, hope you're doing well. I'm not. I overdid it with ghost peppers on my pizza. Oh, man, I'm sorry about that, my friend. So that's a pain that you're going to feel coming out for sure. Resolute says, what's your monthly goal to start full-time? 5K to 6. If I got to 5K, I would definitely do this full-time. Honestly, if I got the YouTube up to probably 3K a month, I would not worry about my job anymore. Even though 3K would be tight, I could do it because you got to factor in taxes and crap. Mr. Miles doesn't need money. He lives in California. They're rich. It's a paradise. Well, that's true. I forgot about that, Thomas. Thank you for reminding me. I should just stop paying Mr. Miles. Alexander says you should try Hooters Spirits. I'm sure they're fine, Alexander, but no thanks. Hooters, honestly, I find distasteful. I think Hooters is tacky. Its very concept is tacky, and it's just a strip club for teenagers, and I find that quite frankly distasteful. So I have no interest in ever going to Hooters. Gene Starr loves mac and cheese. I do as well, Gene. I do as well. Mac and cheese is freaking awesome. And by the way, quick side story on that, Gene. My wife's father, a man named Lewis, who lives in Florida, who will never see this because Lewis doesn't give a crap about Star Trek or any of that stuff. But Lewis married, after he divorced my wife's mother, he married a woman named Pauline. And so Pauline is not officially a relative because she's never adopted my wife or anything, so they're not, but, she's my wife's father's wife. Pauline makes mac and cheese so freaking good that it is so good. And she makes it in these giant batches that are just, her mac and cheese is to die for. Now, my wife for years and years and years, Mrs. Antitracker would say, oh, you like mac and cheese, but you've never had Pauline's mac and cheese. I was like, what are you talking about? Come on, it's just mac and cheese. I love mac and cheese, but come on, it's just it's boiled macaroni and cheese. How, it's not a complicated thing to make. Oh no, you haven't tried Pauline's mac and cheese. Oh, come on, you're crazy. We finally got to Florida a few years back, and I met Pauline and Louis for the first time. Wonderful people. And Pauline made mac and cheese while we were there, and oh my God, it is so good that it's like you would kill somebody to get more of Pauline's mac and cheese once you've tasted Pauline's mac and cheese. So yes, I understand where you're coming from, Gene. Max Wild says, I thought you had gotten yourself into some Surian brandy. Yeah, I would love to if I had some. Nightbreeze says, oops, I shouldn't advertise on your stream. That's all right, Nightbreeze. And Peter Solo donated $1. Great kid. Don't get something and let Kronos choose. So Kronos, you get to choose a super chat reward. So throw a super chat reward at me and I will play it. And someone's sent me, oh, that was just the notification that $1 came into PayPal. So Kronos, you get to pick one. I will try to keep an eye out for it. Don't forget to put @AntiTrekker though, because I am so far behind. I gotta only do the ones that are addressed to me, or I will never get caught up. Alexander says, "Hey, Trekker, I think Picard will keep the Klingon as they were in TNG." I hope you're right, Alexander. I hope you're right. I truly do. Because if they do Klingorks on Picard, a lot of people are going to be pissed. Mr. Miles says, I'm willing to sell out. Hey, YouTube, Orange Man bad. Now promote this channel. Love it, Mr. Miles. Love it. And let's see. Daniel says, Trekker, I hear Marvel wants to get people of color to be Professor X and Magneto. If that's true, Daniel, that is a stupid thing. First of all, Professor X is English, all right? And I know that England doesn't have 100% white people, but English genetically is white. It's Anglo. It's freaking English, all right? Magneto is Jewish. He was a survivor of the Holocaust. I'm sorry. It is a part of their character. Marvel, don't F this up, please. Sorry. Max Wild throws $5 into the chat. Thank you so much. Says, you could choose a super chat. I've been out of the country for the last 3 weeks. Well, welcome back, Max. I am so glad that you made it back in one piece. So, which UBERCHAT do I pick? Well, I don't even know which one to pick. So I'm going to hit this one. No, I'm not going to do that one. I like that one, but let's do this one.
I got him! Great kid! Don't get cocky!
And Pickle Jars for Hillary puts $3, very unusual amount there, $3 into the chat, and says, my wife worked at Hooters when she was in college and took offense to that. She says it's harder than you think to deal with drunk a-holes who think every waitress wants to F them. Failed director Ava, I can't pronounce that last name, May film, Knights of the Old Republic films, totally hard pass. And 9. All right, I'll play number 9 in a minute, but Pickle Jars, let me say this to your wife, all right? When I say that Hooters is a strip club for kids, right, that I find that the whole thing with Hooters, I find distasteful and all that. That is not a slight against the individual employees at Hooters. So if you worked at a Hooters, and I understand you did what you needed to do to pay the bills, to do what you have to do, right? We all work jobs. You know, if work didn't suck, they wouldn't pay us to do it. That's the honest truth about it. So I don't think that you are a bad person or distasteful or anything because you happen to work at a Hooters at some point in your life. I find the concept of Hooters offensive. I find the fact that people actually made a restaurant chain based on the idea of being sexually appealing to younger men in particular, but men in general, and then trying to sell it off as family dining. I find that offensive. All right. So it's not you. And you know what? The reason you had a bunch of drunk a-holes that think that every waitress wants to F them is because that's exactly what the people that created the corporate mentality of Hooters want them to think, so that they'll come into their establishment and buy their damn wings or whatever the hell they sell. The only thing I've heard about Hooters is their chicken wings. And so it's you had to deal with all that crap because you have people that know that they can just, play lowest common denominator. Hey, let's put sexy women in skin-tight outfits and then tell everybody it's family dining. F you, Hooters. However, to pickle jars for Hillary's wife, I have nothing but respect for you. You do what you need to do to take care of your family. And that goes, by the way, for any woman or man who does any type of work. You know what the individual employee does is, and what the corporate attitude is, are two different things. We all do what we have to do to survive, and some of us do things, and I'm no exception. Some of us do things that we don't want to do in order to take care of our family. And as difficult as that is, I applaud people that are willing to do anything and everything to take care of their family, because that means that their priority is in the right place. You take care of your damn family. So, it's all right.
Hello, world.
And Darth Stewie put in a buck and says, "Join us, Luke."
Got him! Great kid! Don't get caught.
Turn to the backside of the Force and let the chat choose. All right, so the first person who puts in a super chat number after right now will then after Alexander's $2 super chat about Hooters. We'll get to play it. So I'm trying to get there. So, man, you guys are going crazy tonight. Richie says, I choose UBERCHAT number one for Max. Well, sorry, I picked a different one. But because he said I got to choose the super chat, not you. Daniel says, I saw Ben-Hur. It was great to see it again. They made Rome look like the bad guys. Ben-Hur is a good movie. Wasn't that article on Ryan Johnson great on last night on Midnight's Edge? Do not remind me of that. Yeah, that was... yeah. Josh says, watch Anti-Trekker or watch The Clown Show. That is the Democratic debate. Tough choice. Tough choice. What's your shirt say? More cowbell. Yes, more cowbell. Sci-Fi Sith says, here's CBS and the makers of STD answer to the fans that hate Klingork design. F you, and you're a sexist and racist. Yep. Darth Maul wants to know, do you like Velveeta cheese? No, but I do like Velveeta shells and cheese. But Velveeta, I'm sorry, Velveeta's not freaking cheese. It just isn't. Let's see here. Continue on. Wesley is in the house, says, how's it going? I'm hanging in there. Kronos put number 23, and I'm glad I happened to catch that because I think I owe Kronos. So here you go, Kronos. Yes, a true classic. And Kronos then says anti-trekker 23. So thank you, Kronos. Even if I didn't see that, I would have seen it because you're the man or woman. I don't really know. Daniel's Hot Topic says, what's the deal with atheists? They are so negative. I talked to one who lives in LA and he keeps on telling me that there's no such thing as God in the Bible. The Bible's a legend and was created by, and I assume you're going to say like man, blah, 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 blah. Well, I'll tell you what, Daniel. Remind me, we'll talk about that a little bit on Sunday. But as far as people being negative, I'll be completely frank. People are negative on both sides of that debate. Yes, there are some atheists that are complete dickwads and are rude and crude, and I want to punch them in the face every time they open up their mouth. But let's be honest, there are some Christians and other religious folks that are just as bad. Wesley says, I woke up with my back hurting. It must have been sympathy pain. Well, I hope not. I hope that's all it is. Because, yeah, I don't want anybody to have to go through what I've been going through these last few weeks. Michu Pichu was amazing? What? What? Huh? Now you got me, either that alcohol is much stronger than I thought, or I lost you. Oh, the Incan Citadel. Okay, yes, it is beautiful. It took me a minute because I recognized those words, but I couldn't quite place it. Wesley says, I hate it when I miss your rants. Well, that's what the rewind button's for. Max says, Antrigger, LOL, I haven't seen that one before. Great, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Darth Maul says, Antrigger, I may be remembering wrong, but if Michael Dorn has a pilot license, then he likely flew into Aguila de Luz Airport. That's like 5 minutes from Vasquez Rocks. Very cool. Vasquez Rocks, very cool place. I've been there twice. I want to go there again. Alexander says, Bat turd, this is very intellectual. That's one way to put our fun-filled antics. Richie telling Wesley that I was ranting on Marina Sirtis. Oh yeah, don't even Marina Sirtis. Hold on, wait, hold on. Just every now and then you need a.
I got him! Great hit! Don't get cocky!
All right. And I didn't even see. I know somebody just super chatted, but I didn't see what it was. Let me go back to. It was pickle jars for Hillary. Put another $1 in. Says money wasn't the problem. Her family's rich and owns a chain of convenience stores and other things in Spain. Oh, very cool. You picked the right person to marry then. She worked there to see more American culture, and she did many. And she needed so many hours of work, according to her something scholarship. She wanted to clarify. No problem. But you know what? That's fine. But I don't like the idea of using sex for profit like that. I just don't. I know I'm old-fashioned. Some people are looking at the anti-trigger. Come on, you're such a prude. What's wrong with marketing sex? I just don't like it. Daniel says, he says to the Bible was created by the Emperor Constantine, has created the Bible to control the people, and if there wasn't, was Moses was a terrorist and Jesus was a cult leader, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and I'll stand by what I said earlier, Daniel, but you know what? If anybody's going to try to argue that Christianity, that the Bible was created by Emperor Constantine, then they're complete idiots, all right? Because the Bible clearly predates Emperor Constantine, but that's fine if they want to believe that. Entry, the thing about Magneto's and math will someday be impossible. That's true, Mark, unless all you got to do is write in that Magneto ages slower than normal humans. Guess what? There are plenty of mutants that you can already say that about. Thomas says, remember next Thursday is Kurdistan election. We vote to keep you president or go absolute monarchy. Polls not looking good for you. Wow. Thanks, Thomas. Max says, Hooters is extremely patronizing. I wouldn't mind so much if the food was good. Well, I've never been to a Hooters, and so I can't speak to the quality of the food. I don't like the concept. Was the Picard series filming at the old Axonar Studios in Valencia, California? If true, I've been driving by them weekly and didn't know this. I'd never heard that, but I don't know, Darth. I don't see Hooters as family dining. I know it's not, but that's what they say it is. Thomas says, remember Mrs. Antchecker, imagine in the throne room, image in the throne room when you have time. I know, Thomas. I'm sorry I haven't done it. And Night Breeze donates $1 and says, oh, him? He's harmless. Back in the 60s, he was part of the free speech movement at Berkeley. He had a little too much LDS. And all hail the hypno-turd.
Hello.
And Alexander puts another $2 in, says, I'll dress my wife as a Hooters girl. You know, you better get your wife's permission before you say that. I'm just saying, Alexander, I'll give you some friendly advice as someone who has been married successfully for a long, long time. Remember, I met Mrs. Antchecker in 1987. And that is, you will not dress her in any way, shape, or form. You will ask her to dress a certain way. And if she says no, accept it. Just saying. Otherwise, you will get a divorce. Just letting you know. Anyway, let's get back to... All hail the hypno-turd. You must love the hypno-turd. The hypno-turd is love. The hypno-turd is life. The hypno-turd is you. The hypno-turd knows everything you know. The hypno-turd cannot be beaten. You cannot escape the hypno-turd. You must bow down before the hypno-turd. So, yeah, the hypno-turd is getting a little aggressive tonight. That's kind of weird. And Alexander with a $2 Canadian super chat says, Hooters is the best restaurant in history. Okay. And Darth Maul is first in the house with 17 for the super chat that I said the first person after that would get their pick. So here you go, Darth Maul.
Hey, you want to learn about Jesus?
There's no such thing as hooker-client confidentiality.
That is just so freaking wrong. I'm sorry. It just is. Oh, and I just realized, I think I messed up. So let me go back there. What's your number? That was 17. Yeah, turn that off. Otherwise, it'll mess up next time. All right. And let's continue on through the chat. I got to try to get caught up because I got to wind things up here in a minute. Wesley says, hot Los Angeles girlfriend is the best choice for a wife. Disagree. I prefer organic parts on my women. Wesley says, Antchecker's shirt needs more cowbell. Yeah, good luck with that. Darth Maul, I was reserved to go to Hooters. My eyes, I know for sure I would have been staring at their ample boobs behind the nameplates. You know what? That's one of the reasons I don't go is because I know I would do that. And it's lewd and it's crude and it's designed to be that way. So yeah, F them. Darren says, you're correct. Velveeta is not cheese, it's Velveeta. Cheese is that cheese that you store at room temperature. Eesh, yeah, no kidding. Wesley says, I'm so tired of Super Chat 23. You play it too much. I don't play it any more than people ask for it, Wesley. So, yeah. Enter, got a boost in subs. Almost 9,000. Yes, getting close, my friends. I'm very excited because then I'm going to have Joshua say, something to the effect of over 9,000 because why not? But yes. Kronos says excited about the punching bag. Mr. Miles says, Enter, in my head, Michael Dorn went out there to laugh at the Klingorks in person. I can hold on to the illusion for a time, at least until we see the show, yes. Darren says, talk about merch. How about Marina Sirtis urinal targets? Very cool. Kronos says, you've got 71 people watching. Very cool. Right now we're down to 62, so I guess we got a boost at some point, but now some of them said, oh, this guy's an idiot and left. Darth Maul says, if you do go to Vasquez Rocks again, my parents' church is just up the street from the Agla Duluth Airport. Stop by. I would if I ever find myself in California. Although, and I will tell you this, Darth Maul, and Mrs. Antricker knows this, but if we ever do any more traveling, and Alexander with another $2. Thank you, Alexander. It says many Hooters girls still my friends after they quit. What do you own Hooters? Is that what you're really the founder of Hooters, Alexander? Is that what it is? I got you figured out now. Anyway, what I was going to say, Darth Maul, is that anytime that me or Mrs. Antricker will travel in the near future, we will in fact let you guys know, so that way if anybody's near in that area, I want to try to meet as many of you as possible over time. We are thinking about taking a trip to Eastern Tennessee, if I can get a couple of days to go and just rent a cabin in the Smoky Mountains and relax for a couple of days before my surgery. Don't know if we're going to be able to do that or not, but we're hoping to. Mr. Captain says lots of episode 9 rumors, and oh man, it's looking bad. I've read a few of the rumors, and I've seen a few videos on some of the rumors, but I am taking them all with a grain of salt. I don't buy into rumors at all, because you know what? They're very rarely correct. And when they are right, it's just because, broken clock is right twice a day. Richie says, yeah, Trigger, it's a long-standing business principle. Sex sells. There may even be a rule of acquisition on it. That's true. Sex does sell, but that doesn't make it tasteful. And, yeah, that's why I'm not, and we joke around sometimes where Mrs. Antrick is like, ooh, hit the like button. But it's not like I'm, I that doesn't change the fact that I think that building an entire business on the idea of selling sex to minors is wrong. It's just wrong. John DeMarco says, I agree with your opinion on Hooters. We can be old-fashioned together. Well, thank you, John. Mr. Miles says, some airport. I'm only 33 and I've never had any desire to go to Hooters. I don't like to mix erections with public meals, but I'm weird, Wesley says, I'm with you. I'm tired of the stuff that the world is doing to sell your stuff or anything else. Yeah. And there's Alexander says, I'll dress my wife as a Hooter girl. Remember what I said, Alexander. Don't do it. Don't do it. If you want your Asian Muslim wife born in the USSR to stay your Asian Muslim wife born in the USSR for many, many years to come, don't say things like that. I always heard their breasts were great on the chicken meals. That's bad. Chicken breasts are a good thing. I will agree with you that. Daniel says, I was born in 1987. Thank you, Daniel. I hate you. Get Josh to make Bird in a Hooters office super chat. Oh, that would be horrible. Wesley says, Hypnoturd scares me. I understand that. Chrono says, I think Fuddruckers is best. I have not gone to Fuddruckers in a long time. But that's because they don't exist in Tennessee, at least not that I know of. Mr. Miles says, Enter, a lot of scenes from Enterprise's pilot was filmed in my city. Very cool. I did not know that. Why? Thomas wants to know, why do you have 2 dog beds behind you? Because they're actually, we have, this one was one of Puka's old dog beds that I brought up here, and I realized it was too small for Auntie. So then I got this one, and I just haven't put the other one back because I can't bend over to pick it up. So yeah, that's all it is. Many Hooters girls still my friends after they quit, says Alexander, which kind of makes me wonder if Alexander owns a Hooters. Just saying. Wesley says it's almost 9,000! Yes. Mr. Wolverine says, I very much enjoy your live cast. Something about how you handle yourself, even through struggles, is an inspiration for me. I've gone through plenty myself. Thank you. Well, thank you, Mr. Wolverine. I truly appreciate that. It's been a tough road for sure, but I'm glad that things are going, looking like they're going to go in the right direction. Max says, when's Part 4 Galaxy Quest review coming out? Are you serious, Max? Come on now. Jerk. Darren says, my brother once considered buying a Hooters. I told him that if he did, I would prefer him as the Godfather. I'll tell you, I actually had this whole thing going, and I swear I would do this if I actually won a big old lottery just as a joke. Is you open up a restaurant across the street from a Hooters, the logo of the restaurant is a squirrel holding a burlap bag with an acorn sticking out of it, and you call the restaurant the Nutsack. Alexander paid for the ample resume enhancements. That's what he means by what he said. Daniel says, so exciting, Sony offers Marvel Disney a new deal where they can have Spider-Man and Venom in the MCU. I have not heard anything official on that, Daniel. I know you love to read the rumors and stuff, but until I see something official, I'm not holding my breath for any of that. Mr. Rouse says, I have a broken digital clock and it's wrong 100% of the time. It always says 0. There is no 0. That's not true, actually. 0 hours is midnight. But unlike if it's on military time, so it says 0 as opposed to 12 o'clock, it's only right once a day as opposed to twice. Thomas says, BIRDOPREY and lore as Hooter girls. That's just painful. Darth Maul says, I was born in 1982. My birthday is September 24th. Why are you guys telling me this? I know I'm old. Thank you for reminding me how old I am. Jerks. Wes and Alexander, thank you so much. Puts another 2 fake Canadian dollars in and says, no, I'm a polite and civilized Hooters client. All right. I will take your word for it, Alexander, but I kind of doubt it. I'm just saying. Wesley says, when does your Borg review part 7 of 9? My next Borg review, I want to try to get out next week if I can, but I don't know. That's been really tough to get back into things. And Mrs. Ann Tricker's on her way, so I'm going to have to wrap things up in just a minute here. And let's see what, get back to the chat. Thomas says, my friend and I like going to National Park historic sites. I see one is in Murfreesboro. Yeah, we have a battlefield in the middle of town here. And it's actually kind of cool to check out, and you can think about what you would do strategically. And it's actually a very strategic place to have a fight. Mr. Miles says, 12 o'clock hour has no 0. A 12 o'clock has no 0. Actually, 12-hour clock has no 0. That's true, but a 24-hour clock does. And let's see. Answer, Joshua should do all your bending and picking. Child labor was good enough for my parents. Yeah, but I'm not a jerk. Commander Sutter says, Answer, I find it hysterical that the SJWs have not gone after Hooters for objectifying people who identify as women. I see what I did there. And yet they go after Chick-fil-A. Hashtag me poo. You know, that's interesting. You're absolutely right. Why the hell doesn't the SJW crowd attack Hooters? Why are they all pissy about Chick-fil-A? Oh my God, they're Christians. They're evil because they are not gay. But it's okay to objectify women, apparently. Kronos is getting overwhelmed. I'm sorry. Darren says, or instead of Nutsack, you could have a sports attire store called the Jock's Itch or a bread store called the Yeast Infection. That's good. By the way, I saw Baby Teeth in 1987. And I hate you all. Mr. Miles says, Andrew, I want a bar with the cat and the rooster. You figure out the name. That's not bad. Mr. Captain says, what will you dress up as for Halloween, for your Halloween stream? I don't know. I would love to dress up as a Klingon, but the problem is that I want to get a good Klingon uniform. So I genuinely don't know. I don't even know what day of the week Halloween is on. So, yeah, that would probably... let's see. Let's see. It's on a Thursday, so that would be a nighttime stream. So, yeah, we'll see. Mr. Rouse says the nut Sacagawea could be a Native American version. That's really bad. And then Wesley says, I go to a military simulation once a year. It would be easy to see. Who would like to see my video of it? You go to a military simulation? I'm not sure what you mean. And BIRDOPREY says the Battle of Murfreesboro was unique in the Civil War, and that was the only battle in which the loser won the town. Okay. I don't know if you're being serious, Bird, or if you're just being a jerk, but I'm betting on being a jerk. Halloween Thor, not bad. Kosher Jamaican restaurant, call it Jew-making me hungry. Gee. Maxwell says, I was born in 1068. The Crusades were cool. Very good. Thank you for letting me know that. Mr. Rouse says 1886 is the best year to be born in. Okay. 1975 for Epic Beard and Night Breeze. Yeah, a bunch of kids. CD Horde is in the house. Says, how you doing, Anti-Trekker? Anti-Trekker? I am okay, CD. All things considered. Fortunately, I have a little bit of liquid medication, which basically boils down to 2 parts Absolute Vodka, 1 part Tampico Fruit Punch. And it's not a bad mix. So, yeah. Daniel says, Antricker, on Halloween, can you sing Happy Halloween, Happy Halloween, 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 Happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock. Did you have those hanging nuts from your truck? I never did. I never got the hanging nuts for my truck. And hopefully the truck is not totaled, because I do love that truck. If it is totaled, though, I'll have to figure out something else. Yay, vodka! Yes, I do love vodka because you can mix it with just about anything. All right, so it's called Muslim West. It's part of Airsoft, part military simulation, modern day, not historical. Okay, so just for fun, very cool. You should put it on your channel, Wes. Sushi place called Eat Me Raw. Jeez, that's just bad. Speaking of bad, Alexander, you're welcome.
The board vessel's moving into range.
On screen.
Let's get lost in that magic place all alone now. Drink a fill from my fountain of love, wet your lips. I'm a man, I'm a teaser, I'm a man, well I'm a virgin, I'm a man, I'm a one-night stand, a man, I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a dream, I'm a dream divine, make love together.
He's dead.
All right, so with that, I am going to wrap things up. And Darren, I'm not going to even answer that. Did you see the Diet Coke commercial Pierce Brosnan did in the 80s with the ninjas? I vaguely remember that, but I have not seen it in recent years. Aberjam UK, the open-faced dog sandwich looks delicious. That's just horrible of you. Auntie is not a sandwich meat. She's just a very, very lazy dog. Laura, the ultimate destroyer of worlds. Very true, Commander. And with that, we are going to wrap this up. But guys, thank you for being the best damn crowd on YouTube. I really, really could not make it through the day without all of you guys. I tell you that you are an inspiration to me to just make it one more day every day. So thank you. I truly appreciate that. Josh says you have 2 movie series that Joshua has to make. Now, Feces and Lorehead do Kuroga and Super Turds versus Legion of Doomcock. I know you want the Super Turds, but you know what? I gotta push Joshua just hard enough to get him to do stuff, but not so hard that he gets mad at me. So yeah. And Darren wants me to watch his video. I'm gonna watch your video eventually, Darren. I finally got around to watching your Star Trek video, which was actually really good, and I was plugging it the other day. But anyway, guys, take care. Have a great night for morning or whatever it is for you. And thank you, truly, from the bottom of my heart, just for being my friends. you've got something better. I need to find that animation. And Alexander throws 2 more fake Canadian ducks in that says, Mike, we hold you back. Feel the burn. Your streams are the nutsack. We're hanging together here. Oh, that's really, really horrible. But Alexander, thank you so much for the $2. I do truly appreciate it. And you've been very generous. So I will let you, if you so choose, I will let you pick another super chat. Might I recommend the Feces and Lorehead one if you haven't seen it? It's, in my opinion, freaking awesome. Let's see. On to Pluto in an episode of The Prisoner. Yes, Mrs. Antitrekker, by the way, Mr. Londell was watching The Prisoner. She loves that show. So she watches it on Pluto all the time. And I'll give Alexander another minute. Nutsacks are a thing. That is very true. I want G.I. Joe. All right, so you want G.I. Joe. I don't know which number that is. I know it's an UBERCHAT, but let's see if we can find it. No, that's not it. That's not it.
I now pronounce...
That's not it. That's not it. No. There we go.
So, does anybody really know why we're fighting anyway?
Well, I think... Hey, didn't he vote for Trump?
He did.
Get him!
So remember, if anyone has an opinion, they're probably wrong.
Now we know!
And knowing is half the battle.
And Maticus Finch just subscribed. I don't know if you're here right now, Maticus Finch, but let me say, if you are here, you've got an awesome username because Atticus Finch is my absolute favorite hero in cinema. So very, very good username. So with that, guys, again, thank you all for being awesome. And yeah, there's just, what else can I say?